Evening listeners, brave navigators of the enigmatic and the concealed. Have you ever felt the pull of the unanswered, the allure of the mysteries that shroud our existence? For more than a decade, a unique comic publisher has dared to dive into these mysteries, unafraid of the secrets they might uncover. This audacious entity is Paranoid American. Welcome to the mystifying universe of the Paranoid American podcast.
Launched in the year 2012, Paranoid American has been on a mission to decipher the encrypted secrets of our world. From the unnerving enigma of MK Ultra mind control to the clandestine assemblies of secret societies. From the awe-inspiring frontiers of forbidden technology to the arcane patterns of occult symbols in our very own pop culture. They have committed to unveiling the concealed realities that lie just beneath the surface. Join us as we navigate these intricate landscapes, decoding the hidden scripts of our society and challenging the accepted perceptions of reality.
Folks, I've got a big problem on my hands. There's a company called Paranoid American making all these funny memes and comics. Now, I'm a fair guy. I believe in free speech as long as it doesn't cross the line. And if these AI-generated memes dare to make fun of me, they're crossing the line.
This is your expedition into the realm of the extraordinary, the secret, the shrouded. Come with us as we sift through the world's grand mysteries, question the standardized narratives, and brave the cryptic labyrinth of the concealed truth. So strap yourselves in, broaden your horizons, and steel yourselves for a voyage into the enigmatic heart of the Paranoid American podcast, where each story, every image, every revelation brings us one step closer to the elusive truth.
Another episode. We're keeping them coming. If you haven't noticed, it's been nonstop. We've been very consistent, 2 a week. For Paranoid American Podcast, it's going to go to 1 a week every Monday, but it's going to be consistent as hell. You'll be able to rely on a new episode every single week, and that along with a few of my other shows. But you're here for Paranoid American Podcast, and today it's actually the Tom and Tosh show because I've got Natasha from Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. So welcome to the show, Natasha. And right up front, just let people know where they can find you and what you're all about.
Well,
3 words or less. 3 words or less.
Oh, fuck me sideways.
Okay, good start. Okay, now you can use more words if you want.
Okay. I am not findable yet if you want to listen. I am releasing on Christmas, and I'm doing that on purpose because we're going to have a cryptid Christmas where I am going to cover the 13 Yule lads and the Yule cat. And that's a whole Icelandic Christmas tradition and lore. So I am intentionally waiting until Christmas, although it is killing me. However, I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram. I have a Facebook page. I'm not a big fan of X. I haven't really gotten into that. I am on Threads, so you can find me anywhere on there. And there's little sneak peeks and little kind of previews and that kind of thing. I am kind of peppered. So if you listen to a lot of podcasts that have to do with the realm, well, I've noticed more creepy than anything else, but I'm kind of everywhere. I get around in the podcast world, apparently. But yeah, so I actually have, the 3 categories, cryptids, creeps, and conspiracies. And my great love, to be honest, is the cryptids. They are very much so my favorite. They're hilarious. Well, not all of them. Some of them are pretty freaking funny. You'll find out on Christmas because they are all hysterical. And I just kind of have a little mixture, not really set up one way or the other. I have some interviews with firsthand encounters that I have coming up. I'm actually doing one Sunday with a man who has dogman encounters. So I'm going to go over those with him and his experiences. I've got an alien UFO type encounter that I'll be doing next week and getting it recorded. It'll be obviously a couple months before that one comes out because I'm literally just jam packing as much as I can. So, I mean, anybody who's got any type of encounter experience, whether it just, it's just weird shit. I mean, by all means, I'm open to it. We're pretty laid back. I just kind of sometimes bring in with the cryptids and some UFO encounters. I'll go over some of the background, describe the creature, where it's from, put out a few documented sightings, and I really like to bring people on for those, and they have no idea what I'm covering. So it's a surprise for them, and I really like that because I like to get that genuine reaction, and then I always like to go at the end. What are your thoughts and opinions? Do you believe in it? Do you not believe in it? Could it be something other than X or whatever? I'm new to the conspiracy game. I've heard of a lot of them. I'm very opinionated. You'll learn if you get to know me. But I am very open-minded. I like to hear it all. Even if it's something that I might be in the back of my head, I'm like, not sure. I'd like to hear it just because I want all the viewpoints and all the opinions. And some of the crap that people actually did to each other. I just did notes on conspiracies that were proven to be true. And I'm not going to lie. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is outrageous, the crap that people do. So I really like to get into that and just kind of see why, because some people really do have, legitimate science-based, theories. And I just like to, dive into that and cover what I can. And actually on some of my episodes, you'll have some of my personal experiences. I have a lot of paranormal type experiences and weird stuff that kind of happens. I call them my superpowers. They're sometimes a curse, but you have what you have. And I like to hear, and with investigators and stuff, with what equipment do they use, what do they not like to use, what the history is, like what got them into it. If they had, some of them, it was, I was, 8 and this happened, and ever since then I've been interested in it. And some people are like, well, I didn't believe that any of this crap was real, and then all of a sudden this damn thing standing 20 feet from me, and what am I supposed to do at that point? And it's just really fascinating to me to get to know all of the stuff that's out there and learn as much as I can. So sorry, that was a lot more words than 3. But I think that pretty much sums it up. Oh, I do have also a Gmail that's cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy @gmail.com. I can also take, stories if you're not comfortable being on the show. You can write it up, type it up, whatever, send it in. And with your permission, I will read it on the show, go over that kind of stuff. And if you would like to stay anonymous, that is also an option. I can come up with some totally bogus name that nobody would ever guess in a million years is you. And you can giggle while you're listening to it, and you might have a really weird name.
That was actually an awesome pitch because it answered some of like the most basic questions that I had lined up, so we can get more into to depth. And you said that recently you were doing a deep dive on some kind of conspiracies that you can't believe, and you said one of them made you go holy shit. So what was that one in particular?
What did they call it? They called it Project Sunshine. Okay. Where the government was stealing bodies to experiment on. But in reality, they weren't just stealing any bodies. They were doing radioactive testing during the Hiroshima and Nagasaki time frame, and they wanted to know what kind of, effects it had on human flesh. But they really wanted the younger skin, the better. So they got together a group of agents to travel the globe in search of recently deceased babies and children to amputate their limbs and steal them without the parents' permission to be tested on. And that is
just good old golden era.
Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, dude, do what you want.
Okay. Whew.
We're talking about radiated baby limbs, so yeah, why not?
You never know. But yeah, when I read that, I was like, you have got to be shitting me. And I just kept staring at it. I could not believe it. I was in total awe that this was even a thing. I mean, I would have felt better if the conspiracy theory itself was the true one, and it was just that they were, digging up cadavers and testing them, but not actively getting fresh dead children. And sometimes they just wanted a leg or an arm or
I like this quote.
Organs.
Assessing the human hazard is developed and an extensive experimental program proposed. Is this the one that you were talking about, or is there?
I think this is the one because they were doing the testing on the nuclear, like the post-nuclear effects. Because it was right around the time that we started, bombing people.
This is nuts. I haven't heard of Project Sunshine before, but also there's not an end to all of the different conspiracies. Even if you just were to hyper focus on the United States government targeting their own people, doing the most insane things you could imagine, worse than, James Bond villain level stuff.
Oh,
I think I'd rather have a shark with a laser attack me than go through this. No,
that is so funny because I actually referenced that not too long ago. I was like, yeah, because it was like I saw a meme or something with they were trying to train sharks to. That was one of the theories I stumbled across. Was they were trying to train sharks to attack certain types of people.
This is nuts. Yeah, young and growing tissue is the most susceptible to radiation damage. Bone formation in an individual is complete by the time they are 20 years of age. Okay, so if you were over 20, you were safe from the draft of being into Project Sunshine, it sounds like. So they were looking for 0 to 20.
Yeah, and what I understood, it was their theory was the younger, the better. That's why they were specifically looking for infants and children.
Classic Washington.
And if they were going through and, harvesting organs and stuff, you got to think that means that they're finding and getting to these children and babies before they've been, oh my gosh, I don't want to say autopsy. That's not what I'm looking for. Like embalmed and all of that. So they're catching them fresh.
The standard man contains 0.7 grams total of strontium in his bones. I don't know what strontium is. I didn't pay attention in chemistry. I probably should have. It would have paid off by now.
Probably say it's some kind of either element or chemical residue because they were testing it on the nuclear effects. So I would assume it'd have to be some kind of byproduct.
Yeah, let's see what strontium is. We'll get it from the EPA themselves. Shout out Nixon. Strontium is a metal. Rapidly turns yellow in air. Okay, so we all have 0.7 grams of this in us right now. And I wonder, it doesn't sound like a natural thing to have in you. Maybe it is.
Well, it might be something like we all have something about there's like arsenic and stuff in us, but it's not at a deadly dose.
Okay, yeah. So this is this is actually kind of nuts. So strontium 90 is specifically from 1950s and 1960s nuclear fallout from testing.
Yeah,
that is what strontium 90 is from. And
man, am I good or what?
And they already determined that every human man, I guess they specifically so the man, has 0.7 grams in their body already. I wonder how much now. I wonder if they even, because who would even fund this? Who wants to know the answer to this, right? Just for more losses, for the fun.
Well, no, I think what they were doing, I mean, I'm not for sure. I didn't like dig deep dive into it, but my assumption, if I was a criminal mastermind and I was looking at this, I would be looking at it as, okay, here I am, 50s, 60s. I've got this bomb. All right. I know that these other people are making bombs. So I need to know if I bomb these assholes over here and they decide to bomb us back, what is that going to do to our people? Or do we want to bomb them? How close can our own military personnel be to the, drop zone? Do we want them all gone? What are we looking at here?
What are we looking at here? Okay, now it's starting getting to math. Now it's really getting scary.
I mean, basically, everything. This is official. What it boiled down to was literally if someone was exposed to different amounts of this particular byproduct, how would it affect the tissue? So basically, would we incinerate ourselves?
Where's the aliens and the reptilians at, though? This isn't a conspiracy.
It could be right? It could be a conspiracy without aliens and lizard people.
No, you're right. I think those are the most interesting ones.
The original conspiracy was people were saying they're stealing bodies for experimentation under our noses without us, without permission, which in theory is correct. They just didn't realize to what extent these fuckers were going. Oh, sorry. My dogs are probably going to start barking because I don't know when the other half's getting here.
All right. You have him shut up back there.
Well, they're actually closed and locked out. They're just really loud, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear them or not.
No, we're dog lovers. They're allowed to come to the table if they have something to say.
No, not me. They drive me nuts.
Okay, so that's actually really interesting. Project Sunshine. Now you know that we all have radiation in us thanks to the 1950s and 1960s nuclear fallout testing.
Well, yeah, we don't know where ours came from, but it's there. There's actually a lot of things that are in our body that you'd be surprised about that are just not at levels to cause problems.
And to all the babies out there that died in this, thank you for your service to our country. We appreciate.
And we hope everyone that took you rots in hell.
That's right. This is actually pretty nuts. Okay. So let's rewind. Let's go in reverse order. So you mentioned that cryptids are your favorite. We'll get to that last. Creeps.
Okay.
What are creeps? Is that like serial killers or is it something beyond that?
So I may or may not have intentionally left that door open. I actually, before I took this portion of the podcast and created its own little brigade here, I had a co-host and we had a separate podcast that we covered. Well, the first half was true crime and the second half was everything I'm covering here. It was just one of those things that we couldn't get enough of the information. I felt like we weren't giving quality materials out. You know what I mean? It would be more of like a quick hit or a broad overview instead of being able to actually like dig in, and do all of that. But then we ended up having some scheduling conflicts and things it was hard to coordinate. And so that one ended up dying. But if you do, the episodes are still out there. If you want to listen to them, it's the Red Rum Podcasters. We're two little red R's going opposite directions. And I'm always the second piece. So if you want to listen to it, it's there. But creeps for me, primarily, especially with the interactions and feedback and stuff that I've had from people so far, majority of the interested parties, I guess you could say, are interested in the ghost side of things.
Okay.
Haunted houses, paranormal investigating, my personal experiences where I sat a foot from a demon. It was a good time. He was a little creepy. Actually, what's really weird is I just talked about him like an hour ago. So we'll just talk about him again.
Are you assuming the demon's gender right now?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So
you don't know unequivocally what gender the demon is.
It's a man. I can tell you it's a man.
And
even though the body was not a man. It was a thing. Okay, we'll just go ahead and get into a little bit of the superpower kind of situation thing that I was talking about earlier that'll make sense. I am very in tune with a lot of things around me, I guess you could say. If I have somebody that is anywhere in the fucking vicinity of me, and sometimes they don't even have to be close to me, and they're in a bad mood, I'll randomly be like, I won't talk to this person. I had one, actually this happened a month ago or so. I had not talked to this person in 3 months, and I was in my car. They're an hour and a half away from me. And for whatever reason, I could feel everybody has an energy. People can be similar, but I've never met two people that have the same energy. And that includes twins that I know. They've never had the same energy. Everybody's a little different. And it's like I could feel him. I knew it was him. And I just instantly, I was so pissed. I don't know why. I was literally in my car drinking some Pepsi and I wanted to like punch someone in the face. So because I hadn't heard from him in a while, I got my phone and I sent a message. It's like, hey, you had a bad day? And he called me. He's like, how the hell did you know that? I'm like, how did I know what? I don't know anything. I was like, he goes, literally as my phone was ringing, he was walking and stepped on like a tack and it went into the bottom of his foot and he was digging it out as the phone was ringing and cussing at it. So he was just pissed. And I apparently knew from way over here and that kind of thing. It's kind of also like the spooks that I have that I encounter a lot of times. I might not physically see them. They like to dick around with me a lot. Usually they're just kind of mischievous. They don't really do anything horrible. There's one creeper. He's kind of weird, but it's almost like I can picture in my mind whatever energy and or aura or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how it works. I literally have no idea what any of this crap going on with me is or how it works. I just know it does it. But it's like I can picture what they look like in my head, even though I don't actually see them. And I can tell the difference between all of them. And this same person that I called a few months ago, we used to work together, and I would be sitting at my desk and someone would be like, oh, hey, did you see so-and-so? And I would sit there, I'd be like, and I would point to the door and the door would open and they would walk in the door. They're like, how the hell did you? I'm like, I don't know. I felt him coming. And it's really weird. But I usually, can pick up, I can kind of feel what's going on. And this thing sitting beside me very much so gave off a masculine vibe. More so than, not at all feminine. This thing was not nice. He wasn't very friendly at all. He's actually visited me twice. And he touched me a few weeks ago and it was really weird. Yeah, it was really creepy because it was it was weird. It's like I was sleeping, but I wasn't asleep. It was really bizarre, but I could see, and I've never had sleep paralysis before. So I don't know, but my eyes were open and I just saw this arm coming at me just real slow. It wasn't fast or anything. Told you they bark. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel threatened. It was really strange because as soon as I saw it coming, it felt very familiar. Like I had seen it before. I knew what it was. And it was just this long black arm and it reached out towards the middle of my bicep and I was laying on my back and it was towards my bicep and it stuck out its hands and the hands are so creepy. Okay, picture Jim Carrey, the Grinch, but not fuzzy and jet black. That's the hands. And it stuck its finger out, just the regular finger, and it just kind of did one of these numbers and just ran its finger down my arm 3 times, real light. And I could feel it. And it felt almost like somebody was taking a kitchen knife and the very tip of it and just barely scratching me. And it just got almost like it was I could really hurt you, but I'm not going to. It did it 3 times and then it disappeared. And when I looked at my clock, I only had 10 minutes before my alarm went off. So I just got up. It didn't hurt me. It didn't do anything to me.
You could be describing somebody's kink right now, though. Do you think, I always ask this with anyone that's had a paranormal experience like this. Do you think if you had the paranormal activity set up with cameras pointed in all directions and everything, do you think it would be captured on any of those cameras? Yeah. So you think that it basically
now
abides
that
by
thing,
the laws
I don't
of physics?
know about that one, but my other ones for sure would be. I've had them talking to me. I've had them touching me while I'm trying to sleep. They've moved stuff in the house. One last time I got to probably be careful. Last time I talked about one of them, I just got this random horrible bloody nose in the middle of talking. My sound equipment quit working. I've picked them up on my recordings. Some of those tidbits that I've got on my recordings are on my Instagram page and stuff so that other people can hear what I hear when I go back to edit. One of them, the one that I had a gushing bloody nose in, I had recorded the entire episode, video recorded everything. And when I went back, I even checked with the person that I was recording with. I was like, we did do video, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, what's weird is it recorded everything, but the screen was just black. Both sides, nothing. And it's turned the treadmill on. It's brewed the Keurig machine with nobody home. All kinds of weird stuff. So for sure could probably pick something up because they like to come hang out in my podcast.
Did it actually pick a Keurig cup out or it just turned the machine on?
So I was at work and I got a phone call from my husband. He was like, what the hell? And I'm like, why are you mad at me? I was like, what's going on? He's like, you just left a mess and you just left it for me to clean up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, it looks like somebody brewed a cup of coffee with no cup. And it just ran all over the counter, the floor, down the cabinet doors. It was everywhere. I was like, babe, I haven't touched that thing in a month. And what's funny is it's like 3 days before this, I told the spooks that he didn't believe in them and to pester him and leave me alone for a couple days. And so it waited for me to leave for work and then made a mess.
So do you think you can actually command them? Like you can actually give them suggestions?
I don't tell them to do things. I'm not into that because I don't want to, I'm all about don't piss them off. But if they do, like if they're bugging me and I'm trying to get some sleep, I'll be like, hey, I'm like, can you please stop? I need to get some rest. I got to work in the morning or whatever. I'm like, can you please stop? And they stop. So I don't ask them to do anything. I've never tried. I don't really encourage it. It just happens. And
I'm immediately thinking this could be weaponized by the military. If people can just accidentally do it and find out on their own, there's a 1,000,000% chance that the military's got like a squad
they were already tapping into sidekicks and shit for remote viewing. I don't know if they ever even tried.
Do you think that you might be putting yourself at risk by like attracting the attention of like some covert military unit that might want to try and recruit you and hunt in the demon realm?
I said, they don't do anything. Like I said, I don't ask them to do anything. Even if I asked them, I don't know if they would.
Well,
they respond if I ask.
It sounds like you were describing yourself as like an empath, right?
I am.
Where you can feel. But do you think that could be weaponized?
Somewhat.
Because if you had an empath that like hung out with the president, right? And like theoretically, you could be like, oh, there's someone angry in our radius.
Oh my gosh. Have you even like tapped into ancient Egypt?
I have not.
Those seers, they had seers that they believe were basically psychics, and they would look at their dreams and they would use what the seer would say to make battle plans, when to attack, how to attack, all of the like where to come from, everything. They used them all the time back in ancient Egypt and I believe Rome. Have you ever seen the movie Scorpion King?
Of course, with The Rock. That's
the really sexy lady with like the slit up her side. She's a seer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you think we still have seers right now? Do you think there's like secret seers in the White House?
I don't know about in the White House, but I know we exist.
Oh, I like that it's that we exist. So is this like a resume out there? Are you like floating your resume out for anyone that's looking for a seer?
So I'll give you a couple examples that makes sense. So like I said, I have absolutely no control over it. I can't tell it when to happen. I never know where or who or what, or I have absolutely no control. I would love to turn it off actually, because it's really kind of weird. But for example, 3 days ago, I, for whatever reason, was having horrible chest pains all day. I could not figure it out. I was like, almost like I was having like a heart attack or an anxiety attack, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, that's so weird. I went home, took my extra medicine for my anxiety, and it helped a little, but I was like, man, my chest it hurts so bad. The next day, I got a message from a podcast friend of mine that a mutual friend of ours had to have emergency open heart surgery that night because of some valve or something in his heart was malfunctioning. Then for the last 2 days, I can't breathe. So sorry if you do see me doing a lot of weird breathing stuff. It's because I feel like I can't catch my breath. I couldn't figure it out. Again, thought maybe it was my anxiety. Not sure, with the job interview. I was like, well, maybe that's all it is. But I got another update today when I got home from work, and they're like, oh yeah, so he's been going into AFib for the last day and a half. And when that happens, your oxygen levels drop. And I'm like, oh, that's why I couldn't breathe, because he couldn't breathe.
Why do you think you're bound to this particular person?
I have no idea. Honestly, I have not known him that long. I mean, I've worked this. Okay, it's going to be really kind of funny. I worked with them with the other podcast. I would send I'm on their YouTube channel. Some of my episodes are, and they would let me post my stuff on there because they're absolutely fucking amazing. They're cryptid creatures. So if anybody wants to check them out, they're awesome. They're everywhere. And I had worked with them for so long, but it was always behind the screen, right? Well, last month I went to a convention, my very first one, and I was walking around. Huh?
What convention was it?
Cryptid Con.
Okay. Where is that?
Kentucky.
Is it the Kentucky
It was
one?
in Lexington. Awesome. Yeah. Absolute blast. Everybody there was fucking amazing. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Recommend. But I was walking through the booths and I recognized their logo. And so I stopped and I backed up and I walked over there and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I know you guys. And what's weird is because they looked at me because they recognized my voice, but we'd never actually met each other. So we knew our voices, but we couldn't figure out who the hell we were. And I introduced myself. And as soon as they got my name, they're like, okay, yeah, you're with this podcast, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And we ended up hanging out the whole weekend. I was helping them with their booth and I got in free Sunday because they thought I was part of their podcast. And so I spent a lot of time with them on that weekend. But aside from that, that was the first time I've met them in person.
I've been wanting to go to the Cryptid Con in Kentucky for a while.
Do it.
I'm set to go there next year. We'll see.
I got to meet Travis Walton. Oh my gosh.
You have to tell me who Travis Walton is.
Okay. Way back in the day, him and his crew, he worked for a logging company, were leaving for work and they saw some weird light in the woods. And Travis, being Travis, took off towards it and got real close, too close. And
are we talking fire in the sky right now?
Boom, got hit and then taken aboard.
Okay, and then, I know who you're talking about.
Gone for 5 days. The guys he was with were charged with murder because they swore that they murdered this man. And then 5 days later, he just shows up on the side of the road. And
I know that Travis has disputed the events as they were portrayed in the Fire in the Sky movie. Earlier today, I was just doing a live stream where I was going through comic books from the 90s, and in one of those comic books, I had this big ad for Fire in the Sky, and I went on a whole little mini tangent about it is, even though I know that it's problematic based on the person's story that it is based on, it is my all-time favorite alien movie. The way he has to break out of the weird little
So I've never seen the movie.
Oh my god, it holds up. It's worth just watching just to know what it's anyway. I won't geek out too much, but I love Fire in the Sky.
But yeah, I met him. I got to talk to him. He was so nice, absolutely lovely. I got my picture taken with him, and I was very good. And I did not fangirl out. I kept it together so well that when he walked away from me, the guys were looking at me and they're like, "You do know who that is, right?" And I was like, and I waited for him to get far enough away. And I was like, yes, I know who that is. I was like, I actually have an episode that I'm going to do on him in the future. So,
does he have groupies?
Actually, he was just by himself.
Okay.
He had his suit. He had his little case. He did a great presentation. Got up and talked during the conference. It was great. He was so down to earth. I mean, you would have never in a million years. If I hadn't researched him, I would have had no idea.
That's a great pun. I'm sure you've heard it a million times, but
what?
That you're really down to earth because he said that he got, Anyways.
I did not mean to do that. Oh my god. I really did not mean to do that. Oh shoot. Oops.
It's a good pun.
Well, yeah, I totally did not mean to do that. Okay. Well, anyway, open mouth, insert foot. He was a great guy anyway, but yeah, so these two guys, I haven't spent a lot of time with them or anything like that. And I just kind of knew, I've had some where I actually I'm on baby number 12. Well, I'm not on baby number 12. I'll explain it. I have had dreams of people that they were pregnant, and I knew what the gender was, and they did not even know they were pregnant. I told them. And some of them, I told them, and it was so early that they couldn't even pick it up. They had to wait 3 weeks. And I was right.
Like that, like chemically, the pH level hadn't changed yet enough to indicate on a test?
It was literally when I said I had a dream that you were pregnant and it's a blank, they literally had to have conceived said baby that week.
If people knew you well enough, you could totally mess with their heads. Just be like, "You're." So pregnant.
I could. I've actually had people that they get very nervous. I had one person. It was so funny because I called her and I had already called 2 of her kids, and so I was wanting to share the story on my podcast. So I called and was like, "Hey, do you mind if I share that story? Like, do you want me to change your name? Does it matter?" And she was like, "Oh." She's like, "Good." She's like, "I thought you were calling me to tell me I was pregnant again." And I was like, "Well, I've not had any dreams actually lately." Shit you not. 2 days later, I have a dream. I'm like, shit. So I called her. I'm like, "Hey, you're pregnant. It's a boy."
Is that something you're not supposed to text? What's the etiquette of psychically knowing someone's pregnant? Is that like a phone call situation?
Well, okay. So a lot of times I don't say anything. And I think it's because in my mind, I have a hard time grasping the fact that I could even do that. To me, I'm like, "Oh, I'll be wrong. I'll be wrong. There's no. And then I find out a few weeks later that I was right. And then I'm like, well, maybe I, got the gender wrong. Nope. Every single one, I've got them right.
I mean, you could start a business doing this.
Well, see, but here's the thing. So what's funny is I actually had people telling me that. And I'm like, the problem with that is, again, I have no control. I don't know who, when, where, how, nothing. It just happens. And ironically, there was one, we went to their gender reveal party, and there's like 30 people in this room, and everyone thought it was a girl, even the parents. And we had to go around and they, record us. It was really cute. And they're like, say who you are and what you think it is. Everybody said girl. It got to me, and I was like, I know you're a boy. And they were like, and everybody, they wanted a girl, and they're like, oh, no. I'm like, I told you 4 months ago, it's a boy. And you're
also pregnant. You're welcome.
Yeah. And but we had the reveal that day. And so they pulled the string and all these blue balloons came out and everyone was so upset. But I was like, oh, got another one. And what's interesting is that night, or like the next day, I had a dream about someone who was at the party. And I was like, I really hope I'm wrong. Like, this would not be good timing for them. Like, I'm like, oh, like, okay. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, should I say something? I was like, given the circumstance behind the dream, I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell them. And I'm like, and I did. They came over. They were over here for something else because it's actually my stepkid. And I sat him down at the table and I was like, so I had a dream about you guys last night. And they both just stopped. And they were like, they're like, are we having a baby? I was like, so I told him, I was like, well, if the pattern keeps going, yeah. And you're going to have a bonus baby. It's not just one baby. And they were like, what? I was like, oh, because I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's wrong. So we went about our business. And this was about a month and a half ago that I talked to them. I got a message today from my husband that they found out that they were pregnant. And she's guessing about 6 weeks.
And twins?
So we don't know yet. And what I was telling her is, I was like, I'm not sure. So in my dream, usually it's pretty cut and dry. It's like, boom, there's a baby. Like I am pregnant and I am somebody. And I know who I am because, like I said, everybody has their own energy. So I kind of know whose vessel I'm in. And I can see the gender and everything. But with this one, I was like, man, it's a little weird. I was like, for sure, I saw a girl. I remember seeing a girl. I was like, but there was like another baby behind it. And I couldn't get a good look at it. Like I couldn't I couldn't tell if it was healthy. I couldn't tell what it was. I mean, I kind of had like a vibe that it was a boy, but I don't know for sure. It was just really strange for me. So I was like, well, we'll see how that part goes. I was like, but I'd be really surprised to know whether or not there's a bonus baby involved.
Well, it could absorb it too, right?
Yeah. So I know I have some friends that should have been twins, but one of them basically ate the other twin, and the other one, they just kind of porked out and stole all the food, and their twin didn't make it. No. Like in the womb, like there was two.
Okay, just checking, just making sure.
Yeah, it like ate the other one basically, like absorbed, like you said. The other one though, there was two of them. One of them was just eating all of the food, so the other one couldn't sustain itself, and it just died in the womb. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but it happens, I guess.
The ultimate game of Crossfire. Yeah,
and I mean, I've had instances where I've known people die. Stuff like that. Warn people like, hey, watch out for, deer on this road, because you're going to have one run in front of you. Just weird. And it's always random. I never have any idea what the hell's going on.
Do you think you could train yourself to have more control over it?
So I'm not sure, because again, here's the thing. If I'm seeing, which is what I also find interesting, is majority of what I see is birth and death. So it's like the in and the out. I don't know if that's relevant, but I feel like it is. And those are two things that I have no control over. I mean, I can't control when someone dies. I can't control when someone has a baby. I can only see it before it happens. And so when I say I see people die, it's no one's made it past 5 days. So it's like boom, boom, boom. It's not like a foreseen, like weeks on end kind of situation. It's literally like within days, if not.
You're like the cat that goes and like sits in front of the old guy's bed.
Yeah. You know who's
like
gonna die
before they croak. Is that you?
Yeah, a podcast episode about that. I thought it was super cool. But yeah, so I'm basically and like I said, I don't really go out and like advertise everything. Like it's just kind of like, oh, hey,
you're gonna die in 5 days.
No, I've never told anybody. Although I have had a couple people where I'm like, if you have something to say to this person, you need to call them now. Like and I didn't say that. I'm just like, you just need to talk to them. I had one where it was somebody like very close to me. And I was like, okay, I have time. I can take off work. I can go see him. And my husband convinced me that it was all in my head. And
Wrong.
I should stay home.
Wrong.
And because of that, I did not get to tell him goodbye in person. So I was not happy, because I was like, I fucking told you.
And those decisions too, it's like the worst that could happen is that they don't die and you got to see them, right? Like that's not so
exactly.
So
And the thing was, like, I knew how and everything.
How long before are we talking here? Days?
His
hours?
was the longest. And let's see, I had a dream the Monday. So Sunday night, I had the dream, and I got the call Saturday. And that's the longest one. There's another one. I had the dream, and it was 2 days. The other one, it happened, and it was the next day. And then I've had 2, 3 that it was like I was there. I didn't know it at the time. But like I was in this, again, vessel that's not mine, because clearly I'm not like 6'1", tan with a penis. But
we don't make any judgments or assumptions on this show. So
well,
you can
clearly
say
not
whatever you want.
At least tan. But I knew who I was. It was my grandpa. And when I was him, I could feel myself dying, and everything kind of faded. And then he died, and I woke back up, and I couldn't breathe. And as soon as I woke up, the phone rang, and it was the hospital calling to tell my mom that he died.
I've heard so many variations of this story that It's convinced me that there's something going on. That's all. That's as much as I'm willing to commit to. There's something going on.
And that's the thing is, and I every single time I second guess myself. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is in my head. This is just crazy. I sound like a Looney Tune. I try to shrug it off, but then it happens, and I'm like, well, shit. Saw that coming. So literally, okay. So the message I got today, I had to laugh because the first words that they said when they called him to tell him was, Natasha's going to say she was right, and she called it. And I was like, you bet your ass I will. And I called it. That's exactly what I
feel like people just stop answering your calls. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, who's dying now?
People really do. They're like, oh, don't dream about me. I'm like, well, if I do you want to know? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, like, I just need to know whether or not I need to tell you.
You put me on the list of I don't want to know. I want to not see it coming.
What do they call it whenever you get on the list for you don't want like the junk mail? What's that called?
Oh, the do not call or the do not. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Do not contact.
Yeah. Do not call if I'm going to die or get pregnant.
But yeah. So I think that there are seers out there. Now, like I said, there's some people that can do other stuff. I don't know, like I said, I'm pretty open-minded, and I'm like, I'm weird. Who's to say that there's not other weird people out there?
Well, we said a cat too, right? Cats, dogs have this ability. Are there any other animals that you think? Have you ever heard of any other animals aside from cats and dogs and people that'll like hang around a dead area?
I know. So I've heard from people around here. I'm from a small town, so we've kind of got all kinds of animals around here, right? But I've heard a couple of times where like a horse would be very adamant about being around certain people. But it wasn't that they were dying. Well, I mean, I guess kind of they were, but like they then later found out that like, say they had cancer or something like that. And they had no idea.
Yeah. Horses seem like huge dogs, but also like empaths. Like it seems like they're just naturally empaths.
Yeah. And like I said, there's so much out there. Now I don't know. Which is another thing. I think maybe it's because of the stuff that I've experienced. I am very, 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 very skeptical when it comes to psychics. I do not believe anybody who's going to charge you money to tell you anything can fuck off. They're probably lying.
Does them doing it for free make it any more believable?
I think depending on what it is that they're saying or is how they present themselves, and like these people that try to, help the police find like missing children. Yeah, you're probably fucking lying.
Yeah, what's Sylvia Brown? Shots fired at Sylvia Brown.
Yeah, I know.
What up, Sylvia, come on the show. if you got the guts.
Me. Oh my God, watch her actually at me. I'd probably shit my pants.
I'm pretty sure she's dead.
Oh, okay. Well, oh God, no. That doesn't stop on my end.
So maybe she will at you.
I don't want any of that.
I'm just checking to see if Sylvia Brown's alive. No, Sylvia. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, Sylvia Brown died in 2013.
Okay.
She didn't see it coming. She actually got hit by a bus, it looks like. No, I'm just kidding.
That is perfect. But yeah, some people, I think, yes, they can. Because like I said, who am I to judge? I have weird, I don't know, I guess you can call it a gift. I don't know. I call it a curse, but whatever. That they can do. And I mean, if that's something that they can do. But my thing too is if you have all these psychics that are so good, why haven't they won the lottery? Crickets. Cricket.
I don't have an answer either. Yeah. I'm incredibly skeptical on all of this as well.
However, I did get a gut feeling that I needed to stop at a place and buy a lottery ticket, and I did pretty well. But there was no numbers involved. It was literally like, I feel like I need to stop and get a lottery ticket. And I did, and it was worth it.
Was it specific enough to like, and it feels like it's that one? Or was it just like any ticket?
So I had a favorite ticket that I would get, and I would always win.
So before you even pulled over, you knew what ticket you were gonna be getting. Okay.
Yeah, which sometimes when I walked in, it'd be like, ooh, like I need to switch it up a little bit and I need to try these ones. And I would usually like at least break even. I mean, it's not like I didn't win like a ton of money. But it was like enough that I was like, oh, okay, like you have my attention. But I've not had that feeling since. So
have you ever been to Las Vegas?
Mhm.
And you didn't get could you walk up and down the aisles and get like,
I won $100 on a penny machine.
Okay. Was it because you had like a feeling for like a specific
I was like,
one,
I like this and let's try it. And it took me 3 tries.
I mean, it seems like if you were to test your skills anywhere, Vegas would be the place to do it.
But I can also tell you that I did, well, my husband at the time blew all the money, but I did try other machines and I wasn't successful with it. So it's not like every time I picked one, I was right. It was just that one time. So was it me or was it statistics?
Well, and you even said that some of your friends are like, don't call. Do you what is the chance that you having the dream actually makes part of it happen? Or do you think you're just simply an observer and you just see the stuff after it happens? Or do you think there's any chance even at all that you having the dream might be a catalyst?
Oh, I don't have any say in it at all. I am just there and I am just watching. That's it. I have so like I said, in my dreams, it's not like
I saw you get pregnant.
It's not, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I get pregnant and I have a dream and I am pregnant. So it's not like I make any decisions or anything like that. It's just me being like, oh, that's interesting. And then I wake up and I'm like, well, that's fun. I know who's having a baby. But yeah, there's absolutely nothing. In my dreams, I don't have a say. I am fully aware of what's going on. And like around me, like, am I in a hospital? Am I at home? Like one of them, it was my sister walked in. We were at my parents' house and I couldn't tell when it was because all of the other kids were not in the room. So I had no way to tell when it was happening. I just know that she walked in with a baby wrapped in a blue blanket and she handed it to her dad. And I was like, oh. So the next day I called my mom because, well, again, small town. And I was like, hey, are they trying to have a baby by chance? And she's like, well, they've been trying, but they've not been successful. And I was like, well, have you asked her recently? And she's like, yeah, she told me not this time, maybe next time. I said, she's lying to you. She's like, what? I'm like, she's lying. I was like, she's pregnant. It's a boy. And she's like, oh, okay. I was like, I just want to let you know she's lying. And then come to find out she didn't fess up. And eventually after like a month or two, she finally caved. And I said, I'm like, dude, I said, when are you going to tell everybody? She's like, tell everybody what? I was like, we both know that my dream don't lie. I was like, so when are you telling everybody? She's like, I don't know. And she's like, I'm only a couple months. And I was like, I know. I said, P.S. it's a boy. She's like, we don't know if we're going to find out. I was like, well, you just did.
Could you be on like a bus and feel this with a stranger? Or is it only someone that you've...
It only, so far, knowing that they're coming has only happened in a dream.
Okay, so, but you could theoretically see someone or meet someone for the first time, not even have contact with them again, and then figure out like, oh my God, they're going to die or they're about to get pregnant and there's no way to tell them.
So one of the people that I saw die, I never met. No idea. I had a dream. I watched her die. And the next day I walked into my mom's kitchen and the news was on and the bitch's face was on the screen and they were investigating her murder. I had no clue who this woman was. I can't even remember her name. Like, I don't know anything. And she was from and murdered about an hour and a half north of me. And I have no idea what it was with that woman, but she came through.
This fascinates me though, because
I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me because it's not always people that I am close to or have even met. So there's another one. I mean, I knew when he was going to die and I'd never met him. I knew his name, but I'd never actually met him in person.
How was that death? Like, what was the actual method of death?
So it was actually my husband's stepdad. And, he was an older guy and he had been in a nursing home for years. And I just had this really weird dream. And the next day I was like, you need to call him if you've got anything to say. Call him now. I was like, because he's going to die. I'm like, I don't know when, but I know it's soon. So you better call. And of course he thought I was crazy because I was like, he's going to die in your mom's house. And he's like, there's no way. He's been in a nursing home for years. How would he even possibly die in my mom's house? I was like, I don't know, but it's going to happen there. And that day when I woke up, he got a call from his mother that they were putting him in hospice care and moving them to her house. And the next day he died.
Do you think that could have been preventable?
I just felt like I was there.
Sorry, there was a little delay
so
there.
He just died of old age. I mean, oh no, you're good. I think he just died of old age. It was kind of like when I was dreaming about it, it was like I couldn't breathe. My chest was real heavy. I was trying to get someone's attention. I felt like I was trying to yell, but nobody could hear me. So it's like I'm there, but I'm not there. So I tried to get someone's attention to help him, but when I screamed, nothing came out. So it's like all of my ability is gone to do anything about it. And then it was just like, I couldn't breathe and everything just kind of faded and then eventually just gone.
And do you just wake up at that point?
Yeah.
Have you ever been able to sleep beyond the point of death, or is it always you wake up at the moment of death?
I always wake up when they die. And I almost wonder if it's because as they died, like that spirit connection body breaks. And I think because it breaks, then my connection also to the body breaks and kind of shoots me out. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's how it works, but that's my only guess.
Have you ever seen the movie Being John Malkovich?
Mm-mm.
So I highly recommend watching this one. It is completely fictionalized, but it sounds very close to what a lot of empaths usually describe, where like they don't have control over what they're doing. But in this movie, Being John Malkovich, they find this, like, I'll summarize it really quickly. They find like a door, and if you go through this door, you become the actor John Malkovich for an unknown amount of time. It might be a few minutes, it might be like a day or something. And you don't have any control over like what he's doing because it's his life, right? But what people do is that they know that if they go through this door, so there's just that amount of control, and then people start fighting. It's well worth watching, but it reminds me of this.
Send it to me so I can spell it correctly.
Okay, yeah. I'll link it below too, but I'll send this to you after we talk.
And I mean, there's some stuff where actually I was really scared at the convention, and I did not listen to almost any of the speakers until I had to see the room. And I don't know. I've had this. It's been a thing for probably 6 years now. I have the same dream. And the first time I had it, I was in like an auditorium and there were chairs and I was standing there and there was lots of people and there was a stage. And I don't know if it was a concert or something. There was like lights and music, but I don't know if it was like intro music or an actual band. I don't know, because I don't go to concerts, but I was there, and part of the way in, the doors behind us swing open, and this man, like this hooded dude, comes in with a rifle and just starts gunning people down. And I immediately get shot and I die. I bleed out right there on the floor. So then I have the dream again, but in the dream, I know where I am. I know what's going to happen. I am fully aware of everything before it happens.
Lucid dream almost.
Yeah. And so then I'm like, okay, like, guys, something bad's going to happen. Like, I'm telling these strangers around me, I'm like, we've got to go. We've got to get out of here. And no one will believe me. And same thing, door opens, boom, done. Then I have it again. And then I get some people to follow me, and we find the exit. We get out the exit, but he catches us. And then, I'll go out the hallway the next time I have the dream and take a left, and he finds us. So then the next time I have the dream, we go down the hallway and I take a right, and he finds. So it's like I'm like in this perpetual
This is
mouse.
my honestly my favorite movie trope. Groundhog Day. There's also a movie called Death Day. Have you ever seen Happy Death Day?
No, I don't know that one.
So Death Day is Groundhog Day meets what you're describing, where someone dreams about like a serial killer that kills everybody, and they try to get everyone to like know about it, and it just keeps not working over.
Yeah, I've never made it out. I've never made it out alive. But and the thing was, I was like, oh, it's no big deal. I've never been in a situation where I would be in a conference or an auditorium, and then I went to the convention, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I was scared to walk in, but I needed to see it. And I was like, I don't know if it's safe. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, different room. We're good. Like everything's fine.
What details are in the room? I feel like now I want to know to make sure.
Well, it's like, so you have like chairs and the stage is like, it rounds out at the front. It's not square. It's like rounded at the front and it's like elevated from the chairs. And the
is this
chairs
the presidential
come in.
debates?
No, it's not. It's not that big. It kind of almost reminds me of the movie. Oh my God, the movie theater here in my town.
Uh-oh.
Which I was wanting to do a live show there at some point. But like the seats, are inclined and you got to like walk down the aisle and it's like at an incline. And there's exits I feel like a stewardess. The exits are in the front, on the left, and the right.
This sounds like a movie theater you're describing right now.
Yeah. But it was weird because it's got like a stage and stuff. So I don't know. But it literally sounds like the decor is not the same as the movie theater here in town. It's more of a bland, not real specific type of decorations.
But it sounds like it doesn't necessarily have to be in your town. It could be in the town of somebody else that you're linked to, right?
But the thing is I keep having the same dream and I have no idea.
This feels like military stuff to me. I don't know. I feel like if I was in the FBI, I'd be like looking out for empaths that might have a.
But my thing too is, again, I can't control anything. So if they were like, oh, what's going on in Iraq at these coordinates, like those remote viewers, I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I can't tell anything to happen. I can't tell you what's happening unless it just randomly shows up.
Wait, and on second thought too, the FBI usually knows what's going on. They're just like, right? Yeah. Like they actually get actively notified about things. They're like, this kid said this thing and he's gonna do it. And they're just like, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
But yeah, that's just something that, it just happens and I just kind of ride with it.
Have you ever seen any cryptids? Like
nope.
Bigfoot or nothing? Have you ever gone looking for Bigfoot or other cryptids? So you would rather just like, if it comes across, you come across it, but do you like actively look for any of these guys?
So
not even ghosts? You ever gone ghost hunting?
Yeah. That one's easy. Because they come to me. I don't have to hunt them.
Oh.
It's a gift. But like literally, like we go on ghost hunts and I've been on a couple. The first one, I literally went with a friend and she used me as a beacon and a spook meter the whole time we were there, where she was kind of like, you getting anything? You getting anything? You getting anything? And if I was like, I'm like, no, like there's nothing in here. And then we'd leave and then we go and I'm like, whoo, like I'm like, something's going on in here.
Were they also using like a spirit box or anything?
No. So when I went the first time, we had nothing. It was literally just me and my weirdness and her. That was it. We didn't record anything. We literally just went partially to see whether or not I could do it. P.S. It worked.
Do you feel like if you were in a haunted area, you would know 100% of the time? So if you don't feel it, then it's safe? Or do you think there's a chance you wouldn't be able to feel it?
It's got a range, if that makes sense. So I can usually feel, because like I said, everybody has an energy and that includes spirits. So to me, it's like I can feel them. I can feel if something's going on or if something's different. So if it's like me and her and I can feel me and her and we're walking around and all of a sudden something else is around us. I'm like, "Ooh," like something's in here. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. I was like, but something's in here. But it might not even be a spook. It might just be maybe there is some kind of weird frequency of something and I'm picking up on it. And I'm not aware of it. It's just something that's different that I can say, whoop, something's not us in here. But we had one where I was at the end of the hall and they were on the other end of the hall and they were in a room off to the side and they were having like something happened in that room. I had nothing. I was too far away to know that anything was there. All I knew is that where I was standing in the area around me, there was nothing. Whatever it was down there and I couldn't feel it. So, but I usually can tell too, like sometimes there's something here, but it's not threatening. I don't feel that vibe. But sometimes it's like I had one instance and it was like, we got to fucking go now. Like it doesn't want us here. And it ended up pushing me like down a railing and almost pushed me from a 3rd story floor.
Okay. So if you get that bad feeling, it could result in death is what we're implying here.
And what's interesting was the same place that I had that experience in. We actually asked, we didn't say anything to this guy. He was a security guard that worked there. And we simply just said, have you had any experiences working here? And the guy was like, yeah, I was up on the 3rd floor over here. And this thing, he was a big man. I mean, sturdy. And he's like, I had to hang on for dear life because something was trying to push me over the edge. And I was just like, me too. Samesies.
Do you think do ghosts have strength relative to their physical form and in their like human life? Or do you think that like once you turn into a ghost, you've got super strength?
I feel, I'm not sure, but I feel that the strength and abilities that they have vary depending on the amount of energy that is present at the time. Like if it's so like kind of way I would put it is if we were in a haunted house and it was getting ready to be a lightning storm, I would almost guarantee you everything in that building is hyped and I just got really big goosebumps everywhere. I would guarantee you everything in there is basically powered up, like super speed. Like they just got that magic mushroom in Mario.
Do you think are ghosts territorial? Like if a ghost moves into a certain room, do you think there's like turf wars in ghost world where they start moving in on a certain area and like push the old ghosts out?
I don't think that they turf war. I think they all kind of have their own space. I feel that some can kind of roam around a little bit if they're not like as threatening or anything. They might have a little bit more of a paranormal leash, I guess, so to speak. But I think that the ones that are very territorial, like the one that I ran into that almost, pushed me off a ledge, it was contained within a 2-cell space, like cell block or like 2 prison cells is where I was at. So once I went down, so I ran and I turned the corner at the end. The moment I turned the corner, hands were off. It was gone. It didn't care as long as I wasn't in its space. And it did kind of give me a warning. Like I felt something was like, ooh, like it, I just pushed it because I was like, well, what's going to happen? I've never done it before. Right. So I was like, well, let's see what happens. Well, that's what happens. Don't fuck with ghosts. If they tell you to GTFO, you GTFO real fast.
I'm just throwing out ideas because I don't know how any of this works. And I'm interested in what you think. If a ghost were to haunt a mobile home, and then you moved that mobile home across the country, does the ghost come with the house or does it stick in the area it was from?
I think it depends on the ghost and why it's there. I have ghosts that have followed me. Everybody says, oh, your house is haunted. And I'm like, no, honey, it's not the house. Because if that's the case, every single house I've ever picked has been haunted by the same ghost.
Do you think it could be an item that you own?
I think it's my kids.
You think your kids are haunted?
No, I lost 5 kids and I think my kids follow me.
Okay.
They're a little mischievous, but they never do anything really hurtful. They do kind of pester my living child. But I told him to stop.
Does your living child know what they're being pestered by, or is it like and you just don't?
I don't really. Yeah, I don't really. He's kind of weird. He's been a little curious lately about things, so he's actually. Oh, this is so cool. I'm doing an episode on it at some point because even though my show is not kid friendly, my kid's going to be on the show. Because he came to me and said, hey, I saw something in the woods, and can you tell me what you think it is since you know this stuff? And I was like, yeah, buddy, like, what, can you explain it to me? So he starts describing it to me, and I'm like, wait, hold on, time out. I was like, let me get some paper. Let me get a pencil here. All right, describe it to me again. I'm going to draw it exactly how you describe it. And so he describes it to me, and I'm drawing it out. I'm not the best artist in the world, but got the job done. And I turned it. I was like, is this what you saw? And he was like, that's exactly it. To the point where I even Googled a type of hat. And he knew. He's like, no, that one's not it. And I picked up another. He goes, that one's it. That one right there. That's the one I had on. And I was like, I know what this is. So my son saw the Hat Man.
I don't know what the Hat Man is.
Oh, so the Hat Man is a spirit. A lot of people, what I think is interesting is a lot of people typically see him in correlation with taking Benadryl, and like in their sleep, they'll see him. Yeah. Basically, he described a black shadow figure wearing a fedora / top hat, about 10 foot tall, walking in the woods.
Is this just like a Redditor with the fedora? Okay, sorry, that's bad.
Oh, probably you say this one's, yeah. But he just said it was, so there was an opening. They were going deer hunting. And there was an opening over by where the deer stand was that they were hunting in. And he saw it just casually walking through the opening. And he said he's seen it more than once while he's been out there. And most people only see it whenever they're sleeping. So that's why I'm really interested about it. So.
I've never heard of Hat Man before.
Yep.
Where are you at on Slender Man?
I think Slender Man's bullshit. I think Slender Man is somebody told a story to scare some kids or whatever, and it just got traction. And I believe people see other things that could be something else, but they chalk it up to Slender Man because that's the only thing that they're aware of.
This is actually a great segment. So now I'm going to just rapid fire some questions at you on what you think. So Slender Man, if you're calling him bullshit, I'd say that's a 0 out of 10. And then I don't know if we're talking ghost, it sounds like you'd be 10 out of 10.
Oh, 10. So, yeah, sure.
Okay. So we're going to go through a few more. I got a little cut.
Okay. Hey, conspiracy buffs, I double dare you to take some PCP, the Paranormal Conspiracy Probe. On your marks, get set, and go.
All right. First up, 0 to 10, little gray aliens.
8.
Reptilians.
7.
Politicians as reptilians.
3.
Celebrity clones.
Ooh. Probably going to go with I haven't dug into it enough, so I'm going to say 3, but that could probably go up if I do some research.
Okay. Aliens or some kind of extraterrestrials helped build the pyramids.
10.
Human beings are here to mine gold for the aliens.
2.
Okay, that's Zechariah Sitchin theory. If you're
but no, well, I was going and my brain would like rapid fired through like a bunch of stuff there for a second. So sorry for the delay. It was literally my ADHD brain connecting dots and then going, we're not mining a whole lot of it right now. So that's kind of
okay. The world is a sphere.
10.
Okay. And then the world is flat, I assume is zero, but I'll let you answer that. Okay.
Yeah, 0.
Are you familiar with Tartaria?
Is that what the Hollow Earth? With the like dinosaurs are inside the Earth?
No, and I want to talk about that. No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I'm not actually an expert on this. Tartaria, I believe, is that there was like ancient
Terra
civilizations.
is ground, and that sounds kind of like a civilization under the ground. So I guess it depends.
That's actually a great point. And there are some theories that this civilization goes underground for big cataclysms and then comes back above ground again after it's over. There's a lot of theories on that. I don't know if that's Tartaria specifically. I'm not an expert.
Okay. Well, we'll say 5 because we don't know exactly what it is.
Okay, how about Atlantis?
Used to be or currently exists.
Ever. And let me be specific, that Atlantis was like, some advanced civilization that had technology beyond what we have even today, and then it disappeared at some point in history.
Oh, I'd probably say a 9. As long as it's not like, if it's got a bubble dome and humans somehow in a minute and 30 seconds as it was sinking developed the ability to breathe underwater, then a big fat 0.
Okay. Bigfoot.
Okay. Bigfoot? 9.
Loch Ness Monster.
6 or 7.
I don't have a name for this, but I don't know if you remember, maybe like 10 years ago, maybe it was less, there was like creepy clowns that like kept getting found in the woods. Can you give that a score? I don't know even what to call it, but
they clearly existed. Now,
was there something to it though? Was there like a coordinated effort? Was it like?
No, I just think that it was kind of like the next TikTok trend.
Okay, before it was like a pre-TikTok.
Yeah, only fucked up. I think it was.
I'm just gonna go and dress like a clown and jump out of the woods at random. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just ask because I think I know the answer, but demons 0 to 10.
Oh, 10.
What about angels 0 to 10?
8.
Okay, we're gonna revisit that one because
there's a reason why I would probably, if it wasn't for, we'll get into it. We'll just get into it later.
Are you familiar with who Aleister Crowley is?
Yes.
0 to 10 that Aleister Crowley summoned a legit demon at some point in his life.
8.
Do you know what a homunculus is?
I know that word, but I'm not sure why.
Okay, well, the question would be 0 to 10, Aleister Crowley or Jack Parsons or L. Ron Hubbard created an actual homunculus. But a homunculus is like creating a child or a creature of some kind without necessarily going through like a traditional pregnancy process. Although,
like a golem?
Yeah, a golem is a great example of
I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay, yeah. So would golem, just a golem in general, gets a 2?
2. Yeah.
How about dinosaurs?
10.
Like a T-Rex in the museum?
Oh, like right now, or like they ever existed?
No. Sorry, that they ever existed.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, there's scientific evidence that granted, it could have been planted. Fuck me. Now you got me going.
This is a hot topic of contention, believe it or not.
Really?
And it is a complete 50-50 shot when I ask someone if they believe in dinosaurs, whether or not it's a 0 or a 10. And it shocks me every time in either direction. So let's just stick with 10. You can do your own research and figure out if you want to revise that.
I can see there being arguments to make me lower that rating, but currently it's a 10.
How about dragons? Ever existing, fire-breathing, flying dragons.
2. I'm actually getting ready to research them.
This is interesting to me. And then I guess here we'll do one last one, and that's that the U.S. military had successful remote viewing sessions that led
10.
to whatever. Okay. So I just want to go back to the very beginning, and Bigfoot didn't get a straight up 10. He got, I think, like a 9.
So
what's the 1 point there for?
I haven't physically experienced it. However, I hear that I am relatively close to a hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only like an hour or 2 away from me. And I have considered maybe going to see if I can get my own experience. However, I do not think these things are nice. They're out there and they're animals. They're territorial. They want you off their turf. And I mean, I'm a 5'3" chubby girl, man. Like, ain't no way I'm outrunning that thing. I'd be dead. I also really don't like to be outside ever. So it'd be difficult for me to go. But I think if someone that I personally knew could show me like video evidence that they filmed themselves or I had an encounter, it'd be a 10. It's just the fact that the evidence and stuff that I've gotten is either not from somebody that I've known for a long time or at all. It makes me a little skeptical as to whether or not it's true.
What do you think about I think it's called the Batterson-Gimlin footage, like the OG?
So that's the only footage that I think is true so far. Now, granted, I know there's a lot of backlash and, but I've seen enough of those suits and I've seen enough of people like walking in it and stuff that I don't see a handmade suit doing what that footage shows personally.
And you think that's a lady Bigfoot or a male Bigfoot? Because I hear it's a lady Bigfoot.
I couldn't get a good enough view to guess, to be honest.
I wouldn't know what to look for.
I mean, to me, I feel like it's, unless it was like spread eagle on the camera, I probably would not be sure what to pick.
I just want to say, this is not to be snarky. I have heard stories that Bigfoot is like incredibly appealing to women. Like if they get like an actual glimpse of like an actual Bigfoot in real life.
Oh,
and then it's just it's like an unbreakable attraction, almost like almost described like a vampire.
Did you know there was a gorilla in a zoo, and I can't remember his name, but he was
Harambe, R.I.P. Harambe.
Women came from all over and just wanted to have their way with that gorilla. So I totally.
Are you talking about Joe? That's not nice to talk about Joe Rogan and call him a gorilla. He's a human being.
What? I'm like, no, this is like a little gorilla in the zoo.
Do you think they could charge extra for that?
Right.
Like if you knew that you were there for the gorilla?
Yeah, they traveled, like people would go from countries away to fly to get a look at this gorilla, and they were like all about it. They wanted his beef in their taco. There is
it was on a whim of a joke, and we were like, it would be funny if there was a romance novel about Bigfoot. And I went on Amazon and looked, and I couldn't believe there was like 20 pages and it still kept going. And I had no idea that this was such a popular subgenre. Like there's people that are making their entire living off just writing Bigfoot
think
erotica.
about it. They have stuff with vampires, werewolves. I mean, think about all that crap. I mean, they've got it for all of it. I don't know about any Nessie ones though, but
what about Mothman? Do you think are there any?
Oh yeah, people are all about Mothman.
Let's end on this.
I would get up, but I don't have any pants. I have a shirt that says something about Mothman's sweet ass, and it's got him turned around, his little butt cheeks are sticking out.
Okay, I like this topic. Can we do a top 3 that don't exist already that you know of, cryptids that deserve to be in a romance novel?
Ooh, let's see here. Jersey Devil.
Okay, I can see that.
A banshee. She'd be hot. Just saying. I'd go for a banshee. Do they have mermaids?
Probably already have count as cryptids. Yeah, I'm sure that there's mermaids.
I didn't know they already existed, like as a novel.
They have to. I mean, there's got to be a little Ariel fan fiction novel out there that gets spicy.
Well, I would say Dogman, but I don't know if you chalk it up as werewolf too, so that one might be a little iffy.
I think Dogman counts because I feel like Dogman would have even less of the human touch that you would expect from a werewolf.
Yeah. For sure on that one. I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, can you imagine a Wendigo?
I am now.
Like, Dude.
I found out recently Wendigo were problematic. Did you know that?
Oh yeah. Oh, those things are horrible.
Well, no,
like-
I mean problematic in that, like, it's like some people find it offensive to even refer to a Wendigo.
Well, usually it's the skinwalker is an issue. I've not really heard as much about the Wendigo being an issue, but I know that there's a lot of people, especially in Native American lore, that they don't like the reference of skinwalkers. They don't like to talk about them. They don't anything.
Because it invites them, right? Just saying it out loud is like an invitation.
Oh, I think everything. I mean, well, it depends. If it's a cryptid, no. Fresno night crawlers.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, they're the walking path. They're so stinking cute.
What are they? Fresno night crawlers?
Yes. A succubus. Oh, that's not a cryptid. That's a demon. Just kidding.
And I mean, succubus have had so many. Okay, yeah, I'm already on board. If this is what we're talking about.
Yep. Well, maybe not the weird froggy looking one. I was thinking more like
okay.
The ones that look like they're in the footage. Oh my god, what about the lovely
like frogmen? A little bit. I don't know. The little frogmen, though, they kind of look like little fleshlights. So
okay,
I think that they could actually.
Then. You want the Loveland frogmen. They have one.
Okay, I'm actually familiar with Loveland frogman.
Yep.
And is it men or man? Is it just one of them, or is it a bunch of them?
So, as far as I could tell, the witnesses accounted for more than one. They were kind of gathered together like they were having a little powwow. So, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. Okay, get ready. I got a good one. Ready? Okay, I got two good ones. Pegasus.
Okay. So is Pegasus a unicorn?
Pegasus is the horse with the wings.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, do you think Pegasus and unicorn is the same? No. Okay, so not unicorn. And what was the other one?
Centaur.
I feel like those two are the same. It's just that's like the gender gets swapped, no?
So Pegasus, horse with wings. Centaur is like waist. I think Fantasia, waist up.
Okay, right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking how a frogman, how would it even work? I'm not even sure I know how frogs work. I've cut one open before, but it wasn't for this particular line of thinking. Because I just noticed that he's
would
missing.
They even be the same as the regular frog?
I mean, I would think so, but I don't know how either of those work. And I noticed he's not working with anything. They
lay like the eggs together in the water. I don't know if they're fertilized before or after.
That would make for an awkward come online. Like, hey, let's go in the water and lay some eggs.
I'm down.
Okay, out of all of these, I do like the Jersey Devil because that seems very unpredictable. I've also heard Spring-Heeled Jack.
Oh, Spring-Heeled Jack.
Is that a cryptid though, or is that just like a creepy monster thing?
I think that Spring-Heeled Jack is paranormal. I do not think that he is a cryptid. You should look up Jeff the Mongoose.
It's like Batman here.
I think it's GEOFF. I think.
Here we go. GEF the mongoose.
Oh, okay. Well, that works too.
The talking mongoose. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Supposedly, he's like tells dirty jokes and shit.
They concluded that it was a hoax. He's invented. This sounds entertaining as hell, though. Like you just go up in like
an episode on it,
and the mongoose just starts roasting you. That would be awesome.
Like lives in the walls and like supposedly only talks to the family members.
Oh my god! Of course, there's a connection to the Huxley family. Why wouldn't there be? They're involved in everything that's in this weird paranormal space.
What about a griffin?
I feel like now we're starting to get wacky. Like, what even? Where's the romance? Where's the romance in a griffin? I don't see it. Maybe it's just me.
Right? the griffin? Fly, feel the freedom of the air on your skin and hair or whatever?
I guess, but then like the beak and the beady little eyes and the talons. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's so big that they'd be over my head, so it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, well here, all right. Now we're.
You want to hear my favorite one?
Look at those thighs on this griffin. I can kind of see this now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your theory?
My favorite cryptid is the snallygaster.
I don't know how to pronounce that, but I did it right on the first try.
The other picture's better.
Oh, is there another? Oh, is this one?
Yeah, that one.
Winged creature of the Northeast from Maryland, half reptile, half bird. Oh, this is Hillary Clinton, is it not?
No.
1730s.
Don't insult
German.
the snallygaster like that. It's way too pretty.
Okay.
But the snallygaster got put out of commission because it smelt the vapors of an alcohol vat as it was flying over, and it fell in and drowned.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then they actually caught on fire.
It smelt the fumes of a moonshine still and fell from the sky into a 2,500 gallon vat of alcohol. And this was in 1909, it sounds like, was the last time.
There was one, I think there was a sighting in 39. I think it was 1909 was the first one, and then.
And they suppose it might have been like the offspring of the original snallygaster. This is a new one for me. I don't
no
know
one usually hears of it, and it's my favorite.
I think this could be a romance novel. It might have
my gosh, you see the tongue on that thing?
Well, multiple tongues. Look at
right.
Oh wow.
Are you
okay. Someone might have already moved in on this space and we don't even realize it.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, okay. I can see it now. I can see the attraction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is like having 6 Gene Simmons in one room.
Yeah.
With your full attention.
And he's probably drunk.
Okay, this was fun. I had a good time. Thanks for coming on to the new Tom and Tosh show, episode of 1. Maybe there'll be a sequel sometime in the future.
Heck yeah.
Last time, just let people know where and when they can find you. It sounds like Christmas. Maybe I'll just release this episode on Christmas. That makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, you can do it on Christmas or the week before. So I actually, again, so just so everybody knows, keep your eyes peeled on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Since I am doing the Yule Lads as my first episode for Cryptid Christmas, I am doing a fun little ditty, I guess you could say. I don't know if you want to call it a marketing campaign, but I guess you could, where on the days that each Yule Lad is supposed to be showing up, according to the lore, I am going to be posting me doing whatever it is that the Yule Lad is supposed to be doing, so that you can, maybe guess the name of whatever it is that's happening. And I'm going to do each one just like they show up all the way till Christmas on the release date. And then on the release date, you'll be able to see what all of the ones are and see if you guess right. Can you tell us what the hell a Yule Lad is, or is that a part of the secret? No. Well, I mean, it'll go in there. It's fine. So in Icelandic lore, there is Grilla, and she's kind of a bitch. She's looked at as a witch or a giant. Some people, refer to her as a troll. And she and her husband, that I can never say, it's like Paluli, I don't know, some fucking name. I wrote it in my notes out so that I could say it properly. But they had 13 kids that are trolls, is how they're all referred to. And they're little troublemakers, and they like to come into the towns and pester people. It's kind of like a really fucked up 12 days of Christmas. So it's like, yeah, it's like every day up until that point. And just a little funny disclaimer, I did actually have to steal my 2-year-old niece's toys to make this happen. I needed a cow and I needed a sheep. Was this just an example or just an excuse so you could play with toys? Well, I was too afraid to go find a sheep and a cow. Last time I tried to mess with the cow, I didn't realize the bull was out. Thank God I was younger and I could run fast. So we got the hell out of there. But I don't really know anybody who's got any sheeps that I could be like, hey, do you mind if I use your sheep as a prop? And this way it's inside and cleaner and a little better all around. But yeah, on there, I'm up and going on there. I try to make posts. I post a lot. I'm a social person. So you guys can always find me on there now. You can reach out to me if you guys have any encounters or experiences or questions or anything like that. I do have the email as well. It's Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy, not C's, just C, at gmail.com.
Only one conspiracy allowed. No more than one.
Well, it was just a fact. It was one of those things where the character length kind of got me.
Yeah, I get it. I have to be Paranoid America on X because they wouldn't let me have the N.
Oh, I can't even try. I don't even know what the hell I would be. A mess is probably what it is. There is a website that has additional links to external sources. It's Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy.com. If you do get on it before the release date, though, I am aware it looks funny. It's going to continue to look funny until I get the episodes posted and they go in their appropriate spots. So until then, there is some weird stuff going on one side of the page. But I do already have my merch store open, and I have lots of goodies on there. Everything from, conspiracy. I'm still working on some. I have a couple conspiracy things on there. I got some spooky stuff on there. I've got some cryptid stuff on there. I've got, I just posted 2 of my Christmas designs today. So those are on there. I got some more to put on there. But yeah, so if you want to access that, there's a link to my store page on the Instagram in my bio, as well as on the website. There's a link for merch, and you can click on it. It'll take you there. And if you have any issues or whatever, just shoot me a message, and I'll see if I can troubleshoot.
Sweet, and I'll put all those links in the description along with your email address for people that want to reach out and everything. And I'll lead us out on my own little commercial. This is, if you're watching this in December, this should be coming out next month in January. This is Chaos Twins. Check it out.
Welcome.
That is totally not Chaos Twins, but this one is.
Dive into a realm where comedy meets cosmic adventure. Chaos Twins, created by comedian Sam Tripoli and comic publisher Paranoid American, will sweep you off your feet. Join 2 girls with the astonishing ability to morph into animals, rally with their cryptid crew, and traverse diverse dimensions. But you don't have to take my word for it. Sign up now at chaostwins.com. In a place as curious as Crown City, adventure awaits at every turn. Meet Anna and Becca, 2 spirited souls navigating a world filled with wonders and weirdness. Alongside their trusted allies, Biggie, Matilda, and the Chupacabros, they'll stand against aliens, reptilians, and mysteries beyond imagination. Dive into their captivating tales and discover a world where anything is possible. For more information, visit chaostwins.com, samtripoli.com, and paranoidamerican.com.